Hi, I'm Lara.
And I'm Dan.
We're here for your stretch segment. A little while later in the routine, you might want to have some props handy. I have a stretch strap, and Dan's got a long towel that we'll use for some assistance during some of our floor stretches. So Dan, do you want to get us started?
Sure. We're going to start with the neck and shoulders.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is we're going to tilt the head about 45 degrees and hold on to it with your other hand. And take this shoulder and push it down towards your pocket. So the stretch doesn't come from pulling on your head. Stretch comes from pulling the shoulder down away from the ear.
These are stretches. They're supposed to feel good, so certainly do not pull or try to resist during any of these exercises.
Right. Ready to switch sides?
I'm ready.
We'll tilt, hold on, pull the other shoulder blade down. We're going to try to hold each stretch for somewhere between 10 and 30 seconds. Make sure you breathe while you do it.
Don't forget to breathe.
All right.
That feels good.
Okay, while we're standing up, we're going to stretch your quadricep muscles. So what we're going to do is take your left leg, grab onto your foot, pull that leg back behind you like this. Lara is going to use the chair here if you need a little help for the balance, because sometimes it's a little difficult to hold yourself in this position. So what we're going to do is keep this knee hanging underneath the hip joint, not out here.
We don't want to arch the back and pull too hard. Spine should be nice and neutral.
Right. We ready to switch?
Ready to switch.
I'm going to turn sideways so we got that side view here.
Okay.
The stretch comes from pulling the leg back behind you while the pelvis is neutral. It doesn't come from leaning forwards.
We see that all the time, don't we?
Mm-hmm. All righty. Ready to move on?
Ready.
Okay, we're going to do the hamstrings next. So that means we're going to straighten one knee, pull the toes up towards the hips. And from here, we're going to lean the hips forwards. If you need a bigger range of motion, you can do what Lara's doing, put your leg up on a chair or a coffee table or something
Notice
like that.
we're bringing our toes up towards us.
Mm-hmm.
Little dorsiflexion there actually gives you a little bit better stretch. And the spine is not rounded because the stretch comes from that hip. There you go.
Dorsiflexion. There's your dollar word for the day. Very fancy. You ready to switch?
Oh, it feels so good. I don't know. Yeah, I'm ready. Okay.
Toe up. Lean the hips forwards. No rounding of the back. And don't forget to breathe some air. Did you know that 9 out of 10 fitness professionals agree that air is good for you?
Really?
Yes, it's amazing. Interesting statistic.
I like that one.
All right. We ready to come out of here?
Ready.
Great. Let's move that chair, and I'm going to bring Lara over to the wall, and we're going to do some calf and foot stretches. So what she's going to do is split her feet. We're going to put the back heel on the floor with the back knee straight. She's just going to lean forwards until she gets a good stretch right through here. How's that feel?
Feels great.
All right.
Don't realize how much you need a calf stretch until you actually do it.
No doubt. We'll do the other side. Heel stays down. Back knee is straight. She just leans into it. That's good.
Alrighty.
I want to do a little variation on that for the foot. Okay, I'm going to come over here. Sure. What we do is you take the foot, you pull your toes up as far as you can so your toes are curled backwards like that. And then you keep the knee straight and just push forwards until you have a good stretch in the feet and the calves right there.
There's the nice neutral spine still. Dan's breathing, I think.
He is. A lot of times people get plantar fasciitis or other problems with the feet because of the tightness. So this will really help. All right. Let's move on to the pecs and shoulders.
Okay.
Why don't you take the wall?
I will.
Lara's going to put that arm up on the wall and then just take her sternum, turn this way to stretch that section out there.
Notice that my shoulder's nice and level. I'm not squashing it up to my ear. Feels really good, opening up that whole chest and shoulder.
People who work at a desk all the time tend to be really tight here because they have this kind of a position all the time, so stretching out will help. Why don't you do the other side, and I'll show a variation. If you happen to be somewhere where you don't have a wall or a pole or something like that that's available, what you can do is take your fingers, clasp them behind your neck, and then we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together to get that same stretch. As you can see, the head stays neutral over the shoulders. I'm not forwards like that. How's that look, Coach?
Looks great.
All right, fantastic. Are we ready to move on?
Ready.
Great. We'll come out of here. We're going to do a shoulder stretch next. So straighten one arm. You're going to put the hand behind the elbow and pull that arm and shoulder blade across the body like that. That's a good one.
Make sure you don't press on that elbow. We don't want to press on any of the joints. Just above and below is a good way to go.
And we'll switch it out here, straighten the other one, put the hand behind, pull the arm across. Okay. All right, let's get down onto the floor.
Let's do it.
We're going to begin with a stretch for the hip flexors, and we're going to get into a position we call the 90-90 stretch, and that means you've got 90 degrees here and 90 degrees here. So we take the back foot and we curl it underneath the heel, and we put the hips up over that knee. And then to get the stretch, you just take the hips, you lift them up nice and high, so you stretch that right there. You should feel a stretch in the front part of the back leg.
I'm going to just extend my arms, get a little bit more of a stretch there.
Yeah, if you need more, you can start to reach like Lara's doing.
I'm not arching my back, I'm just reaching way up there, breathing and maintaining that lift through the hips.
The lift is really where the stretch comes from. We'll switch sides and I'll talk about that just a little bit more. Sometimes you'll see the stretch performed like that, and we're not really changing the angle at this joint. So the stretch comes from lifting the hips up. And then if you need a little more than that, you're going to take the lifted hip and just push the whole unit forwards like that. So you really spread those 2 points apart. Boy, this is good. I love this one.
This is wonderful for a tight back.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of sitting in a chair, a lot of flexion forward. This is a wonderful way to balance that back out.
Yeah.
Go back to resting length. So if you're sitting all day, we highly recommend this one.
Absolutely. Okay, let's unstretch. We're going to come down here and lie down onto the back. We're going to stretch out the lower back here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's take the left leg first. What we're going to do is put your hands either under the knee or on top of the shin. We're going to pull that leg back towards the shoulder, so you roll the pelvis back a little bit and round out the lower spine.
If you happen to be a little more flexible and you feel comfortable, don't have any back issues, you can extend the opposite leg during this stretch.
And we'll switch it up. Everybody still breathing out there? Now, if you need a bigger stretch than this for the back, what we can do is pull both legs. And what I like to do is grab onto the wrists and the hands like that, and then just roll the hips back towards the shoulder so your lower spine rounds out like that. Boy, that's good stuff.
It is.
All right, let's let go of that. Lara's going to talk us through a hip stretch here.
Okay, we're going to actually keep one foot on the ground, put the opposite foot on the opposite knee, and from there you're just going to lift the bottom foot off the ground and bring all of that towards you. I like to kind of cradle that outside knee in my arm and that outside foot in the opposite arm and pull back gently. Breathe. I call this the pretzel stretch. I'm sure there are many names for it, but I just kind of feel like a little twisted pretzel, but it feels really good. It's a great way to stretch out that hip.
I'm feeling it, boy. That's a good one.
Very nice. Okay,
All right.
let's put both feet back down. So the opposite foot on the opposite knee, and just lift that off of the ground. Cradle that outside knee in the elbow. Grab that other foot, and just very, very gently pull towards you. Nice and easy.
Mm-hmm.
And breathe. Boy, those hips just get tight all day.
Yeah.
Everything we do. It's a really, really good stretch. Do we have to move out of that one?
Yeah, we do need to move on.
So
We're going to
let's
do some
put the feet
twisting
down.
next. So
Great.
what we're going to do now is we're going to take the right leg, we're going to roll the hips over to the side, and then the upper spine is going to twist and turn in the opposite direction. Yeah. Is there breathing?
Mm-hmm.
Is there smiling?
There's a lot of both.
All right.
And let's see if we can get that right shoulder on the ground. Hopefully most of us can, but if you can't, it just shows how extra tight those pectoral, those chest muscles are.
You ready to switch?
Mm-hmm.
Left side over.
I hear some cracking.
Yeah, I
there,
got a good little
Dan.
crackle there. That was nice. All right, don't forget the breathing. If you want to get fancy on this, you can change the angle that you have this leg, higher or lower or straighter or more bent. That gives you different lines of stretch across the hip. So there's some ways that you can vary that if you like. All right, we're going to stretch the hamstrings now, so reach up and get your strap or your towel or your belt, whatever you want to use. What we're going to do is loop it around your foot. One leg's going to be straight, or Lara's going to show a modification with the bent knee. We're going to straighten the stretching leg with the toe up, and then slowly pull that back towards the shoulder. Great. When you get to the point where you have a good stretch in the back of the leg, that's as far as you will go. How's that feel?
Feels good.
All right.
Just hold that stretch and breathe. Bring that toe down towards you. Increase that stretch just a little bit more. There's that dorsiflexion again.
There's that word again. Okay, we're going to bend the knee. We'll switch the feet. Same thing. Are we ready? Okay. Great. If you like, you can change the angle and the rotation of the thigh just a little bit to get different lines of pull across the hamstring. You could do a little bit out or a little bit rotated in.
And that's where the assist tools really come in handy to help you change those angles. If you didn't have that and you tried it without it, you might find yourself rolling around the mat a little bit.
Okay. Feel good? Great. We'll bend the knee and we'll set your props down. Okay, we're going to roll over onto the stomach.
Okay.
We're going to put the hands underneath the chest. And from this position, you're just going to gently prop yourself up onto your elbows so your spine bends backwards.
What we don't want to see is that the shoulders are scrunched up to the ears. So really think about pressing down and relaxing those shoulders. It'll make the stretch feel completely different.
Yeah. And the hip bones are staying in contact with the floor. That's important. You don't want to push back so far that you start to compress the discs back there. So keep the hip bones in contact with the floor. And this should be a pretty decent range of motion for most people, don't you think?
I think so.
All right. So we're going to pull out of this. We're going to sit back onto the knees. Sit back on your heels. This is called the child pose. And we're just going to round out that lower back from here.
Nice deep breath or two here is really nice. From here, then we go right back, right up into hands and knees. We're going to round that back, round it, round it, round it, and then drop it down and give it a little bit of an arch. Lift that chin up towards the ceiling. And again, let's just pull it all under. Do not hold your breath, let that air go. And then back again, chin up. And one more, round that spine, pull it under. Probably the only time we want you to round that spine. And then back to neutral. Very nice.
Yeah, that feels good. Okay, well that wraps up the little stretch out for you. So keep in mind that you should do these types of stretches after every workout. You're also able to do this in between on your days off. If you've been sitting a lot, you want to get up and move around a little bit. Maybe you get up in the morning and you're kind of stiff. You can go through some of these stretches too. So feel free to, you don't have to do them all every day, but feel free to pick and choose what you feel like you need the most.
That makes